Oh, howdy all, grab yourself a beer, it's time for some Path of Exile discussion. Today, I'm continuing a series looking at popular, powerful endgame unique items. And today I want to look at Prism Guardian. Prism Guardian is my pick for one of the items most likely to wind up being nerfed in a future patch, because it's been a very powerful item for a very long time. However, I'm going to talk about its state as it currently exists in the Ultimatum League, and if it gets absolutely gutted, I'll take this video down. If it changes, I will leave a note in the description below. That said, it's survived without nerfs for a long time. So let's talk about what this item is, why it's so strong, and how you go about getting it and using it. So firstly, there's a good deal of resistances on it, 37% if you don't corrupt the shield. If you do corrupt the shield and have the 12% elemental resistances be replaced by 1 or even 2 Vaal implicits, 1 with a lucky Vaal Orb, 2 with a lucky Elva's Corruption Chamber, then you're still getting 25% to all elemental resistances, and that's pretty good. But the meat and potatoes of this shield is the real mods on it, the ones that relate to socketed gems. So +2 to the level of socketed aura gems is more significant than it sounds. There are a number of aura gems, and I'm going to particularly call out the 3 purity auras. So we're not talking purity of elements here, we're talking purity of fire, purity of ice, and purity of lightning. These are the ones that grant you resistances and increase your character's maximum resistances as well. These get massively better when they cross the threshold from gem level 22 to gem level 23. At gem level 22, they provide 4% increase to maximum resistances. At gem level 23, that jumps up to 5%. Now that might not sound like much, but you can get aura effectiveness as well, and with Prism Guardian, it is quite doable to get all of your maximum resistances, except for Chaos, up to 90%. And that's basically by using the 3 different, purity gems, getting 2 levels on them from the +2 to the level of socketed aura gems, and just having purity gems that are intrinsically level 21. So that's a starting point of one thing that's really strong about this, just the ability to get gems over that key breakpoint. That said though, the really powerful things about this are that your socketed gems cost and reserve life instead of mana, and have 25% reduced reservation. Firstly, note that that's reduced reservation. That means that it stacks additively with powerful nodes on the passive tree like Sovereignty. So Sovereignty reduces reservation of skills by 6%. It's not the only node on the passive tree that has this effect, and these effects stack. So that means that if you have Sovereignty and you're using Prism Guardian, then the socketed aura gems have 31% reduced reservation. If you're also using the unique boots Skyforth, which have 6% reduced reservation on them, then suddenly you're looking at 37%. If you're using a Redeemer necklace that's got 5% reduced reservation, now suddenly we're looking at 42% reduced reservation for the socketed gems. You can go much higher than that, and this is one of the key things that makes this item so good. The auras that you have inside Prism Guardian can cost almost nothing to reserve. It is actually technically possible to get them to cost nothing at all, but that tends to have an opportunity cost that's higher than the benefit, so people don't do it except for the memes. In normal play, your auras that are in Prism Guardian will cost something like 10 to 25% of your life pool each, and you are probably setting up your character to take advantage of Pain Attunement, so that you're getting 30% more spell damage when at low life, and using something like Chevron's Wrappings, which was entry 1 in this series. There is a link in the description of the video below to all of the rest of the videos in the series so far, to keep yourself safe from chaos damage. So that's the starting point of what Prism Guardian can do. It allows you to run more auras than you otherwise could. So what is it that's made this see play outside of dedicated aura-based support builds? The key thing here is the introduction of cluster jewels in the Delirium League. On the passive tree, on the traditional passive tree that you have access to, there are not many sources of increased effect of non-curse auras from your skills. So you see here, Sovereignty is one of the better ones, 10% increased effect of non-curse auras from your skills. You can get a couple other things, like you get 6% here. That's 4% reduced reservation as well. So there's a bunch of clusters on the passive tree that do this, but they're not very efficient and you can't spend all that many points in them. What the cluster jewels do, there is a specific cluster jewel it's a medium cluster jewel that has the base effect. So the base enchant is 3% increased effect of non-curse auras from your skills. And if it's item level 84, you can also roll a mod that increases that by 35%. 35% of 3% is 1.05%. So that means it's 4.05%. The game rounds that down, so it becomes 4%. You need to have the 35%, the high tier there. So that's the mod that's called Powerful. The mod that's called Potent, which is lower tier and gives 25%, is not high enough because that becomes 3.75%, which the game then rounds down to 3%. However, what these cluster jewels do is they let you spend a lot of points on aura effectiveness. And aura effectiveness allows you to scale the effects of various auras into the stratosphere. The key thing that makes this so strong is the fact that the effect of all of these different pieces effectively multiply. So the number of auras that you're using is something that's tied to the amount of reservation reduction that you've got. Reservation reduction is something Prism Guardian provides in spades, both directly by giving 25% reduced reservation to the 3 gems in it, but also indirectly by virtue of the fact that the gems in it are reserving your life rather than your mana pool. So Prism Guardian lets you use more auras. It also rewards you for stacking aura effect, both by the fact that you're able to get more benefit from that aura effect because there's more auras to affect, and also because you've chosen specifically to put certain aura gems into Prism Guardian, and those ones will be the ones that scale the most with the increased gem levels on it. So what sort of build would use this? Ultimately, the strongest build probably in Path of Exile's entire history was a build in the Delirium League 3.10 that was nicknamed Harold by players. Harold just being because the Templar character looks like he could be named Harold, especially with a long neck, and additionally because additionally to that, because the character abused various mechanics around aura effectiveness that was conditional upon you having a Herald active on your character. All of the Herald sides of that build got nerfed, but the core aura stacking versions still remain, and in some ways they're the spiritual successors of the most powerful build the game has ever seen. What they do is they use Prism Guardian, the shield, in conjunction with a skill that deals a lot of hits. Popular choices are Spark and Ethereal Knives, but they are far from the only choices that you can make work. They then use both the auras Wrath and Hatred in conjunction with Call of the Brotherhood, which is another item that I linked to another video in this series on down below. And this allows both the effectiveness of Wrath and of Hatred to scale up your damage to obscene levels. Additionally, they will have all 3 Purity gems active, and this will allow them to provide almost all of their characters' actual resistances as well. So you basically don't gear for resist on this build. You get it from from the 50-odd% baseline aura that each of the Purity auras provides you, then scaled up with something with more than 100% increased aura effectiveness. That provides most of your resists. You get a little bit on the tree or on jewels if you need to, and ultimately, you then are an extremely resilient character that actually has quite a small life pool and energy shield pool, but that is almost impossible to kill. So these aura stacking builds tend to be ones that players don't play until quite late in the league, but they can be very, very, very powerful. So that's Prism Guardian for you. How do you get it, you might be thinking? Well, fundamentally, this is a drop anywhere unique. It used to be in the uncommon items tier. Similar in rarity to things like Cherubim's Malefiance and to a number of other items, like most of the unique maps that don't seem to drop all the time. Things like Hallowed Ground will also seem to be in that same tier. There's no actual absolutely known tiering of unique item rarity, but this is what most people thought it was. Tier 3 rarity. It seems to have been raised to Tier 2 rarity in the 3.14 patch, partly as a reflection to just how powerful this item is. That makes it the same rarity as items like Chevron's Wrappings and Mjolnir. However, it's a drop anywhere unique, which means there's not really any good way to farm it. You can try using Chance Orbs on Archon Kite Shields, and if you're persistent enough, you will eventually get one. Or you can try just simply trading for it if you're in a trade league. And that's what I would recommend. This item is usually pretty expensive at the start of a league because basically every first boss kill that's done we'll have one player who is in the party solely to provide ridiculously powerful auras through using Prism Guardian and having a character that's not spec to deal damage, not spec to function solo at all, but that uses Prism Guardian to empower another character, and that other character actually does the killing. Basically, every first kill of bosses is done by an Aurabot and carry combination like that. And as a result, Prism Guardian is in huge demand early on, and it's also in huge demand from the people who are most efficiently farming. They're the people that want it. They're the people that'll pay a lot for it. Day 1 of a league, Prism Guardian trades for a Mirror Shard. Day 2 of the league might be 2 or 3 Exalted Orbs. Day 3 might be 1.5 Exalts. Then it starts to fall, but it's still held some value pretty much the entirety of the Ultimatum League, and I expect that for as long as it remains as powerful as it currently is. So, there's no divination cards that are worthwhile chasing down for it. There's no real way to target farm the item other than just applying Chance Orbs to Archon Kite Shields and hoping. Ultimately though, this is an extremely powerful item, and one that is, as I say, it's probably in very high danger of being nerfed at some point, because it is so central to those very early boss kills. And ultimately, if it were to be nerfed, then you would find that, the first Shaper kill might happen 3 hours later in a league. The first Uber Elder kill might happen 3 or 6 hours later in a league. Likewise, the first Maven kill. And whatever GGG decide to do there, though, this is an item that until that point happens, you should at least seriously consider building around. Whether you go the pure support route, which tends to be called Aurabots by players, or whether you go for a build that is a hybrid of Aura and personal combat effectiveness, which tend to be termed Aura stackers. If you got any comments or questions, though, definitely fire away in the discussion down below. Otherwise, I'm going to leave it there, and I hope you have a good one. May your Varlorbs have interesting results.